In fact, I'm trying to prevent discrimination with this idea, as I say, of eliminating quotas. So I know it was mentioned here before that supposedly I am opposed to human right or to civil rights. No, I was opposed to certain features of programs that were being advocated, but there were other programs that I did support. And frankly, I was doing things about civil rights before there was such a program.
You have strong views about civil rights. What are your views on goals and timetables?
Well, as I said before, I think that we must have a colorblind society. Things must be done for people neither because of nor in spite of any differences between us in race, ethnic origin, or religion. And it's so easy to fall into a bureaucratic practice of saying, well, isn't this the easiest thing? Let's just tell them they have to have X number, and that'll settle it. Well, let me give you an example. Recently, here in the East, and I won't name the locale, we had a public housing apartment, and they had in their own set a quota. And the quota was for 30% black. Now, they didn't get 70% white. They had empty units. And yet, because their quota was full, they were turning away every black applicant that came to the public housing because of their quota. This is the type of thing that we want to stop. And it isn't government policy. Again, as I say, you have to recognize that when you go down far enough in the echelons of bureaucracy, things can take place that you find you're almost helpless to stop. I had such an experience in a whole different field. It had to do with health when I was a governor, and found out that the bureaucracy evidently opposed the change we wanted to make, so they deliberately distorted the order and picked on the most helpless people, those that were the most invalided. And I found out there wasn't really any way that I could police that throughout the entire state, and I called a press conference of your colleagues there and told them that I had to rescind the program we tried to put into effect because I could not control those people at that level. Now, I think, don't get me wrong, I think that the bulk of our employees are fine and patriotic and sincere in all of their work. But I also know that there are others that are just going to, as we all sometimes do in private jobs, they're going to do it the easy way. And I want to fix it so they can't do this the easy way.
Mr. President, are the two U.S. bases in the Philippines of paramount importance when you consider U.S. policy toward the Philippines, or would you put the future of those bases at some risk if it meant standing up for democracy there?
One cannot minimize the importance of those bases, not only to us, but to the Western world and certainly to the Philippines themselves. If you look at the basing now of the Blue Ocean Navy that the Soviet has built, which is bigger than ours, and how they have placed themselves to be able to intercept the 16 choke points in the world. There are 16 passages in the world, sea passages, through which most of the supplies and the raw material and so forth reaches not only ourselves but our allies in the Western world. And obviously the plan in case of any kind of hostilities calls for intercepting and closing those 16 choke points. And we have to have bases that we can send forces to reopen those channels. And I don't know of any that's more important than the base on the Philippines.
Mr. President, if I could follow up, has the U.S. given any consideration to other places in the region we might have bases if the situation in the Philippines seemed to become untenable?
I have to tell you that, as good military will always do, and not just here but in everything else, I am confident that our Navy has sought for and is looking for contingency plans for anything that might happen any place to us.
President.
Thank you, Helen.
What about Ron? Have you ever supported on television in your short?
I like this performance. How did you like the son of the farmer?